first grade or kindergarten. I can't remember from what my mom told me, but I was on the stool washing my hands and I fell off, and the teacher told my mom that's not normal, so she took me to the doctors and they told her that I have a weakness in the right side. It's the right side of my brain, but affects the left side of my body. And I always had to deal with that growing up as a kid. I was always dealing with the disability, dealing with the being obese too. I was actually 245 pounds. If you guys see on Facebook, I actually have a picture of that on Facebook. And then so I used to fall a lot because of the disability, and because of the weight that I had on me, and it was never fun. I would sprain an ankle, I would scrape my knees really bad where they would bleed, both of them like bad. I went to physical therapy for 7 years, I think 7 years, but then I had to stop because it wasn't working. And I went to 5 doctors, and when I went to 5 doctors, none of them knew what was wrong with me. They wouldn't know why I would fall. They wouldn't know why I fall or anything. And it was always hard for me in school with getting teased a lot by a lot of the students. And I had my best friend there for, we've been friends now for 15 years. I don't like that I moved away from her, but I'm happy where I am now. And she was always there for me. If I would fall, I would come to school and she'd be like, "Oh, you fell?" And then I would be like, "Yep." It would get better, and then a month later I would fall again. She's like, "You fell again?" I'm like, "Yes." And she's like, "You're always getting injured." I'm like, "I know." And we're her best friends. And then when I moved out here, it was the saddest part of my life, because she, like I said, she was always there for me. So, and then I tried doing an MRI actually when I was 7. I couldn't do it. Those are loud. I don't know if anybody's ever done an MRI or anything, but those are loud with the noise going. It's loud. So I couldn't do that. And then, so they still didn't know what was wrong with me, and they took a picture of my brain with something else, and they put me to sleep, and then I was in there for an hour, I think, and that showed nothing. So then, even growing up, with my being obese, I was always falling, and it was hard for me to tie my shoes, and it was hard for me to do stuff. And then it was hard for me even to get in and out of the bathtub. And then just when we moved out here 7 years ago from Michigan, it will be 8 years this February, and it was a great move. I didn't start losing weight right away. I didn't find anybody yet. I didn't find the right gym. I wasn't sure what gym I wanted to go to, and it was hard to find a gym because a lot of gym memberships are expensive out here, and it's the same thing in Michigan, and I just never did anything. I should have in Michigan, but I didn't. So, and then when we moved out here, me and my family at the time, my sister, my older sister that was in Michigan, she was getting married she got married 3 years ago. And at the time she saw it online because she lives in Michigan, so she Googled gyms for me to go to, and it was at Choose Fitness here in Escondido. And at the time it was only $9.99 a month. So when she did that, I'm like, great. So I started losing weight by myself at first, and then I got a personal trainer, my first personal trainer. And I had him for 2 years, and he was good, and I did lose 40 pounds with him, but then I started losing weight for the wedding because it was for my sister, and she was getting married, which I lost that 40 pounds. I went back to Michigan. Everyone said I looked great, which was great to show everybody because on my mom's side and my dad's side, there's both diabetes, strokes, cancer. My aunt passed away from ovarian cancer not too, like 2 years ago, and then, which I miss her because she was like a second mom to me. And then getting back from Michigan, I had my first trainer still, and we worked out, and I was taking his like kickboxing classes, and I was taking other classes with him, and they were helping me, but it never helped me with my balance. And he was becoming a physical therapist too at the time, and we would train together like twice a week. We would go to Kit Carson Park. I'm sure a lot of you guys know where that is. We would jog. We would do some like balance stuff, and like basically at the gym we just did machines, and that was like it. And after like coming back from Michigan, when we did all that, I just kept doing the same stuff, and I was saying it's not helping. And my sister even told me that it's not worth it. He's not helping you. Why you still train with him? And I never listened to her. And I trained with him for 2 years, and I just never listened to her about that. And then we were still training, and then he told me that that he's moving away, and I like really cared that he was leaving because he was a big part. He was my first trainer, and he was a big part of it all with the 40 pounds. But I told myself, okay, my balance hasn't gotten better because I was still falling. I was still falling where I would scrape my knees. Not both, but at least one. Well, I think a couple times I even sprained my ankle too. And everybody that knows me really well knows how I used to be. Even my sister could tell you like how I used to be growing up as being obese and growing up with a disability. And then with having my first trainer, I wanted to try Zumba one time, and I tried it. I didn't like the instructor. I didn't like the moves. I don't have the hips to move Latin. I can't do Latin Zumba. I mean, okay, my new trainer does Latin because he's a Zumba instructor. I can't. So I did that Zumba class, and I wanted my trainer at the time to try it with me, and he said, no, just do it by yourself. But like I said, I didn't look at it at all. So then I started taking a dance class at Choose, and her name was April there, and I started taking her dance class, and I loved her dance class. Even my sister took it with me. We were both members at Choose, and we both took it. And then one day I was taking it, actually, I think we met Ashley, which is Ash, my trainer now. I met him, we were going into the gym, and he was coming out, and we started talking to him, and we just love to talk, so we just started talking. So, and then we just started talking, and then we met him that's when I actually met him for the first time. So, and then after that happened, I started taking the dance class. Huh?
He's here.
I know. So, I started taking the dance class, and then he was in the dance class with April, and then I asked her at the time, like, who is this guy, dancing, and she told me that she's gonna probably hire him for Zumba, and his name is Ashley Walker. And then I said, cool, I'll probably try out his class when he starts. And she wasn't sure if she was gonna get him at first or not. So, and then she told me that she's gonna get him, and I'm like, okay. So she got him, and I tried his class. And in the beginning, it was hard because I was new to it, and I never done Zumba before. And it was hard to do the moves, but then also I realized, and he told me that because it's the brain that works, you gotta remember the steps. without that, if you don't remember the step, you're all over the place, basically.
Like me.
Yeah. So then, really?
Sorry.
Oh, and then after a while, we started doing, well, actually, I was still training with my old trainer at the time, and I was taking Zumba with him, training with my old trainer, and then we started doing one-on-one Zumba so I could learn the moves better, and which that helped a lot too. And then at the time, I also asked him if we could start training, but at the time he wasn't ready yet because he just moved, like it was just when he moved to California, and he said not yet, and I'm like, okay. But then my old trainer moved away to a different state, and then I waited, I started working out on my own, and doing my own stuff, and then I started training with him, with Ash, and it's been almost 2 years now since I started training with him. And when I first started training with him, we started at Fitness Unlimited, and we were just training and doing points, and I was doing them for like only 30 seconds at the time. And he told me that my core was really weak. I didn't know that. None of the doctors ever told me that my core was really weak. And then my core was really weak, and I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, your core is weak. I'm like, okay. So, and then I told my mom, and I made me a doctor's appointment. So I made me a doctor's appointment, and then after I made the appointment, I had to see the neurologist, which was not good. But I saw the neurologist and found out, well, did an MRI, because the neurologist actually was to see my toes, because my toes like hurt sometimes and they like cramp up, so I had to see the neurologist for that. And then he wanted me to do an MRI to see if I have anything in my toes. So then he did the MRI, and I was in there for 2 hours with the noise, and it was the hardest thing because you gotta stay still, and those machines, it's like this, you're like